Welcome to Global News on House on TV Africa. I am Flora Ani. Here are the top stories from around the world. Vice President Kamala Harris unveils ambitious housing plan ahead of the United States elections. Bharat raises concern over affordable housing rule. Debate intensifies in Spain on curbing arrival of unauthorized migrants. Joint raised by United States, Iraq kills 15 Islamic State members. Zelensky dismisses Ukraine's Air Force chief. Now the news in detail. In a bold move to tackle the housing crisis, Vice President Kamala Harris has announced her plan to construct 3 million new homes over the next 4 years. This initiative, unveiled during her campaign, aims to address the housing shortage and counteract inflationary pressures. Harris' proposal starkly contrasts with former President Donald Trump's approach to housing and economic policy. Her plan not only includes a significant increase in home construction, but also proposes up to $25,000 in assistance for first-time home buyers. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that housing costs have contributed to upward pressure on the Consumer Price Index, with shelter costs rising by 5.1% over the past year compared to a 2.9% increase in overall inflation. Harris' plans aims to alleviate these pressures with tax incentives for home builders focusing on first-time buyers and support for companies constructing rental housing. On the other hand, Trump has proposed various measures to reduce housing costs, such as addressing illegal immigration to lower demand for housing and opening up more federal land for home construction. His approach also includes the creation of new cities to accommodate housing needs. Britain's largest house builder, Barratt, has withdrawn 4 planning applications recently due to concerns about the government's proposed 50% affordable housing rule on Greenbelt development. This decision comes in light of the government's plan to increase development in what is deemed low-quality Greenbelt land as part of its ambition to build 1.5 million homes. The proposed rule has raised viability concerns for builders like Barratt, prompting the company to reassess its planning applications. Barratt's Group Land Director has called for adjustment to the National Planning Policy Framework proposals, highlighting the need for more flexible regulations that consider the practical challenges faced by developers. The debate over affordable housing rules continues, with industry stakeholders urging the government to strike a balance between ambitious housing targets and realistic, sustainable development practices. Spain's Canary Islands have seen a significant increase in migrant arrival from Africa, sparking a heated debate over how to manage illegal immigration. This issue gained prominence during a recent 3-day visit by Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez to West Africa, aimed at curbing the record number of unauthorized migrants arriving in Archipelago. During his tour, which includes stops at Mauritania, Gambia and Senegal, Sanchez emphasized Spain's commitment to safe, orderly and regular migration. He proposed circular migration schemes, allowing people to enter Spain legally for temporary work in sectors like agriculture before returning home. However, Sanchez's comment faced criticisms from Spain's main opposition Popular Party, which argued that such statements might encourage more illegal migration. The Canary Islands have been struggling to cope with the influx, with over 22,000 migrants landing there this year, more than double the number from the same period last year. The archipelago received a record 39,910 migrants in 2023, a figure it is on track to surpass this year. The debate over migration policies continues to divide the nation as Spain seeks effective solutions to manage the growing number of arrivals. A collaborative operations between American and Iraq forces has resulted in the death of 15 Islamic State operatives in western Iraq, conducted early Thursday. The raid targeted Islamic leaders and saw 7 U.S. troops injured during the mission. The U.S. Central Command reported that the Islamic members were heavily armed with numerous weapons, grenades and explosive suicide belts. Despite the intense confrontation, there were no indication of civilian casualties. 5 U.S. troops sustained injuries during the raid, while 2 others were hurt in falls. One of the wounded was evacuated for treatment, as was one of the personnel injured in a fall. All 7 are in stable condition, according to defense officials. SETCOM emphasized that Islamic remains a significant threat to the region, allies, and the homeland. The operation comes amid ongoing discussions between Baghdad and Washington regarding the presence of anti-jihadist coalition forces in Iraq, highlighting the continuing effort to combat terrorism in the region. The Health and Safety Executive has opened an investigation into the recent fire that engulfed a 7-story building in Dangenham. The blaze occurred at Spectrum House, a high-rise block of flats undergoing cladding remediation, and was attended by around 225 firefighters. Inspectors from the HSE's Building Safety Division, operating as a building safety regulator, along with officials from its separate investigations unit, visited the site on Freshwater Road to assess the situation. The investigation aims to determine the cause of the fire and ensure compliance with safety regulations. The building was in the process of replacing high-pressure laminate panels when the fire broke out. This incident has raised concerns about the safety buildings undergoing similar remediation work and the effectiveness of the current safety measures. The HSE will work closely with the London Fire Brigade, the police, and other relevant parties to conduct a thorough investigation and implement necessary safety improvement to prevent future incidents. Let's take a break. More stories coming your way.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Glad to have you back. X, formerly known as Twitter, has been banned in Brazil after failing to meet a Supreme Court judge's deadline to appoint a new legal representatives in the country. The judge, Alexandre de Moraes, ordered the immediate suspension of the social media platform until it complies with all court orders and pays existing fines. The dispute began in April when the judge ordered the suspension of numerous X accounts for allegedly spreading disinformation. Reacting to the decision, X owner Elon Musk criticized the judge, claiming that free speech is being undermined for political purposes. The social media network, used by at least 10% of Brazil's 200 million inhabitants, has seen users report access issues following the ban. The company recently closed its office in Brazil, citing threats of arrest to its representatives for non-compliance with court orders, which it labeled as censorship. Moraes emphasized that accounts accused of spreading disinformation, many of which are supporters of former President Joe Bolsonaro, must remain blocked during the investigation. X faces fines for non-compliance, with Musk joining critics in accusing the judge of bias. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has dismissed Lieutenant General Mikhailo Oleshchuk, the commander of Ukraine's Air Force, amid ongoing debate over the loss of a valuable F-16 fighter jet. The U.S.-made aircraft, one of the several recently delivered by Western allies, crashed on Monday, resulting in the pilot's death. Although the crash occurred during a barrage of Russian missiles, Ukraine stated that it was not a direct result of an enemy strike. The incident has sparked disputes among politicians over accountability for the loss. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 led to significant territorial gains in the east. In response, Ukraine has launched surprise incursions into Russia's western regions, intensifying the conflict. Amid escalating attacks, Zelensky renewed his call for international partners to allow Ukraine to target sites within Russia to prevent further assaults. Recent Russia strikes have caused numerous casualties, including the death of a